The NBA All-Star Game is supposed to be a celebration of the league's biggest names. The LeBrons, the Kobes, the guys you expect to see under the bright lights. But every once in a while, someone unexpected sneaks into the party. For one shining moment, these role players found themselves among the NBA's elite. Like Chris Kaman in 2010, averaging 20 and 9 on a bad Clippers team, yet somehow finding himself suiting up next to LeBron and Kobe. Or Jamaal Magoui in 2004, who quietly put up a double-double all season, then dropped 19 points in the actual All-Star game. Wally Sterbiaak, he caught fire in 2002, shooting lights out and earning his lone ticket to stardom. These are the NBA's most random all-stars, guys who weren't supposed to be there, but somehow they made it. So, how did it happen? Pause. Are you subscribed? No? Let's fix that real quick. Then we'll get to the good stuff. 1. Chris Kaman. Chris Kaman being named an All-Star in 2010 was one of the most unexpected twists of that NBA season. And if you didn't recognize the name back then, don't worry. Even hardcore fans had to do a double take. Over his 12-year career, Kaman averaged a modest 11.2 points and 7.6 rebounds. He wasn't flashy. No viral dunks, no signature moves, no big-name endorsements. Just a big man quietly doing his job. But in 2010, he caught lightning in a bottle. Through the first half of that season, Chris Kaman was quietly dominating, averaging 20.2 points and 9 rebounds per game, while shooting nearly 50% from the field. He finished the 2009-10 season with averages of 18.5 points, 9.3 rebounds, and 1.6 assists over 76 games. For a stretch, he was one of only 3 players in the entire league putting up at least 20 points and 9 rebounds a night. The other two? Tim Duncan and Chris Bosh. Still, no one expected him to be an all-star. He played for the Clippers, who were stuck in the basement, and barely got any media attention. But that year, injuries opened the door. Yao Ming, the fan-voted starter, missed the season. Brandon Roy went down too. The West needed a replacement, and Kaman's numbers were just too good to ignore. So for one night in Dallas, Chris Kaman shared the floor with LeBron, Wade, and Kobe. He never made another All-Star team, but for that one surreal moment, he stood with the game's biggest stars. 2. Jamaal Magoui, 2004 All-Star. Jamaal Magoui was never supposed to be an All-Star. He wasn't flashy, didn't have a deep offensive bag, and rarely made highlight reels. His game was old school. Tough defense, rebounding, and setting hard screens. A reliable big man, sure, but not someone fans expected to see on the league's biggest stage. Yet in 2004, Magoui found himself playing in the All-Star game. That season with the New Orleans Hornets, he quietly averaged 13.6 points and 10.3 rebounds per game while starting all 82 games. Those are respectable numbers, but still, it took a bit of luck for him to get the nod. Injuries to some of the Eastern Conference's top big men opened up a roster spot, and Magoui was chosen as a replacement. Once there, he made it count. In just 21 minutes of action, Magoui dropped 19 points and grabbed 8 rebounds, the highest scoring total for the East that night. He made a real impact in a game filled with stars, and for one night, he belonged. He also made history as only the second Canadian ever selected for the All-Star game, following Steve Nash. It was a huge achievement not just for him, but for Canadian basketball. Magoui never made another All-Star team, and his career quietly returned to normal afterward. But for one season, and one night in particular, he proved that sometimes even the most unexpected players can shine on the league's biggest stage. 3. Wally Sterbiaak, 2002 All-Star. Wally Sterbiaak isn't the first name that pops into your head when you think of NBA All-Stars, and in 2002, that's exactly why his selection turned heads. He wasn't high-flying, didn't have a signature move, and rarely made headlines. But if you watched the Timberwolves closely that season, you'd know he was cooking. Playing next to Kevin Garnett, who commanded most of the attention, Wally thrived in his role as a knockdown shooter. He was averaging 18.7 points per game while shooting a ridiculous 51% from the field and 45.5% from 3. That's not just good, that's elite perimeter shooting, especially in an era where threes weren't nearly as emphasized as they are today. Wally made very few mistakes, played smart basketball, and fit perfectly into Minnesota's system. He wasn't dominating games, but he was always in the right spots, making the right plays. That season, the coaches took notice. Maybe it was the stats, maybe the team success, or maybe they respected how consistent he was without chasing highlights. In the All-Star game itself, he chipped in 10 points. Not bad at all, but he never returned. It ended up being the only All-Star appearance of his career. Wally Sterbiak's 2002 All-Star nod wasn't flashy or hyped. It was earned through sharp shooting, smart play, and a perfect season at just the right time. 4. Mo Williams, 2009 All-Star. Mo Williams was a crafty, quick point guard, the engine that kept the Cavs' offense running. On February 10, 2009, the NBA announced that Mo would be joining the Eastern Conference All-Star team, replacing an injured Chris Bosh. That meant he'd be repping Cleveland alongside LeBron James and head coach Mike Brown. Now, Mo had solid stats that year, 17.8 points per game on 46% shooting, with 4.2 assists and 3.3 rebounds. He was also lights out from the line, 94%, and one of only 4 players hitting 46% from the field, 39% from deep, and 90% from the line. Impressive, right? But here's the thing. While Mo was good, he wasn't that good. He got hot at the perfect time and, more importantly, played next to LeBron. That spotlight made all the difference. Without that boost, he probably doesn't sniff an All-Star nod. After that season, he went back to being a reliable role guy. Nothing flashy, just steady. That's exactly why his selection stands out as so random. One strong year, a little help from the king, and suddenly, he's an All-Star. 5. Antonio Davis, 2001 All-Star. Now this one makes you scratch your head. Antonio Davis was never a flashy guy. He didn't light up the scoreboard, he wasn't making highlight reels, and honestly, if you passed him on the street, you probably wouldn't even notice. But in 2001, the NBA needed another big man for the All-Star game. And somehow, Antonio Davis got the call. Nobody saw it coming, fans were confused, commentators were stunned, and even Antonio himself looked a little surprised. He played in the game, scored just 2 points, and that was it. His only All-Star appearance. Davis had been traded to the Raptors in 1999 for a high school prospect, Jonathan Bender. By the 1999 to 2000 season, he became a reliable starter, putting up solid numbers, 11.5 points, 8.8 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks per game. Toronto was on the rise thanks to Vince Carter, but Davis was the muscle behind the scenes, defending, rebounding, and setting hard screens. He wasn't the star, but he was the glue guy every team needs. Still, an All-Star, that felt random. But hey, no matter how it happened, Antonio Davis will always be able to say, I was an NBA All-Star. So what do Chris Kaman, Jamaal Magoui, Wally Sterbiaak, Mo Williams, and Antonio Davis all have in common? They weren't superstars. They didn't dominate headlines, sell jerseys, or build shoe empires. But for one season, one shining moment, they were all-stars. Whether it was due to injuries, perfect timing, or a stretch of quietly elite play, these guys found themselves standing shoulder to shoulder with the game's biggest legends. Their stories remind us that the NBA isn't just about household names. Sometimes hard work, consistency, and being in the right place at the right time can take you farther than anyone ever expected. If you enjoyed this, look at the most random All-Stars in NBA history. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Which player do you think had the most surprising All-Star nod? Or did we miss someone even more random? Let us know, and we might feature your take in the next video.